sustainability of technical and vocational training in Kenya, as well as increase access to technical education across the country. As the State Department for TVET continues to implement the sector's reforms, the guiding principle is clear. Skills are the new job market currency in the 21st century. In line with this, the State Department for TVET has introduced modularized TVET curricula, which allows trainees to progress in flexible learning pathways and progression. This learner-centered approach allows trainees to build skills in phases, return for further training, or specialize in industry as the industry evolves. This modularization is inclusive, practical, and aligned to realities of today's workforce. The State Department recently experienced a commendable milestone when the Cabinet approved the dual training policy. This policy institutionalizes dual training, blending classroom instructions with structured industry-based training. Through this model, TVET trainees graduate with industry hands-on experience, which mirrors world-class conditions. Ladies and gentlemen, what I want to tell you is that I have been to various places now. Last week, I spent the whole week in Australia. The only place that the first world beats us is finesse. Doing skilling as should be. I was walking around this very beautiful building, which this institution has done, and I called the principal. And I asked her, where is the person in charge of building and civil? Ako wapi? Ako hapo? Where is the trainer for building and civil? Oh, ako huku. I was looking for you. Ulikuwa wapi? The reason I was looking for this guy is that when you look at that building, it looks very beautiful. But I called the principal and I asked her, why is there a gap between the tiles and the wall? There is a gap. There is a gap between the tiles and the wall. Why is there a gap? At one space, when you are walking, you can actually hit the tile with your shoes. Ladies and gentlemen, that is where we go wrong. That is where the first world beats us. The details, the finesse. Unaona nguo imeshonwa na kola pande hii is not the same size na pande hii. Ati umeshona shati na it is very nice. Alafu kola pande hii is longer than pande hii. I mean, that is where the first world is beating us, nothing else. We are very hardworking, we are very resourceful, lakini tunafanya mambo yetu madhogodhanyo tu umalize, kusemekane umemaliza. Ukiangalia hii gown nimevaa, I mean, we want to train our young people with the finesse with which, if you listen to the songs that this group here is singing, they produce the exact symphony. Why? Because these guys are skilled. These ones. Na unajua ni polisi. Na polisi hawatrainiwi ata hivi. Hapana, ask this guy. That is why when they start singing, it is so exact. Because hawachezi na training yao, sijui ni wao hawachezi ama ni wale wanawafundisha. Hakuna mchezo hapa. And that is where we must go as a country. When we mean to do what we mean, can we do it and train these young people with the exactness that we are supposed to train them. That is all. I was with Dr. Talno. Who else was with me? Donna, Moshemi. Who else was there? I was with these guys in Australia the other day. Last week, we spent the whole week in Australia. And let me tell you what we came up with. Especially you trainers. Where are they? Theory is practically useless if there is nothing you can do with it. Can that become your song? That theory is practically useless if there is nothing you can do with it. Kindly. And for me, I will do whatever it takes to ensure that as a department, we train as we should. Because it is my responsibility to ensure that these young people are absolutely skilled. Hiyo mambo ya kuwafundisha Waitito, hiyo mambo ya kufundisha wanafunzi, ati mumewafundisha and now they are graduating, and what you have taught them is to lay tiles where there is a dispute. Enda huko kwa hiyo building utaona, na kama uone uniite nikuje nikuambie. It looks very nice from outside. The other day at the PC Kenyanjui, some people came from outside to interview drivers. I wish is there anybody from PC Kenyanjui here? You know the ones who came to interview the drivers? Majority of them failed, isn't it? Quite a number of them failed. Driving. And you know, I was told why they were failing. Because they could not park. Ile parking ya kuenda nyuma hivi. Na wewe huko na mshahara ya serikali. Wewe. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us embrace finesse. If you are not going to listen to anything that I am going to say today, you young people, nyinyi, mambo ya kusoma hivi ndio umalize uvae hiyo gown sijui uende wapi. Embrace finesse. There is one guy, professor, stand up. This guy was my lecturer when I was doing my PhD, this one. He's called Professor Wanjao. And Wanjao knows that we almost became enemies, and we lived in the same estate. We almost became enemies because in one paper he gave me a C. This one. He gave me a C, and he's here. Ask him. Professor. Now, unfortunately, I was his boss in the university, but he was my lecturer. Because we must think about the best of what we do. And that is what I thought I was thinking. Then Professor Wanjao decides that I didn't do well, he gives me a C. A C on my transcript. We fought, ask him. So, what I am trying to say is that we must think about finesse. We must think about training at our best. I wish I had asked my people, especially hao walikuwa na mimi Australia, waonyeshe the kind of tiling we saw there. Ask Dr. Tarno or the kind of tiling where you are inadvertently sure that this is what should be done. And this, by the way, was in high school. It wasn't even in a TVET institution. It was in high school. This is being done by the CBC that we are talking about in Kenya today. In other words, what I am saying is that these, our young people, are very good. It is my responsibility. It is your responsibility. It is your responsibility. It is your responsibility. Kwanza nyinyi principals, tutakutana next week. Because it is all about you. If you are not leading from the top, it cannot be done. Unaonekana kaimosi, unaonekana one day, hiyo ni next week. But it is about you.